Hola.
¿Qué tal?
¿Qué tal? Estoy bien. ¿Y tú?
Sí, bien.
Bien, bien. Fenomenal. Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Chrissy's Mindful Meanderings.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, indeed. Wow, you had a big day today.
I did have a big day today.
Yeah. So, tell me, what did you experience today?
Oh, do we really want to go into that?
Okay. Not what did you experience today then. We were just discussing the research that you did with ChatGPT,
Yes.
which was quite interesting.
You're kind of spoiling my show.
Well, no, I'm not. This is behind the scenes. This is for everyone who's paid us premium subscription and they're getting a sneak peek behind the scenes.
Okay.
So, well done for joining the inner circle, and hopefully there's some value here for you.
Yes. I guess this is a bit of a crash test dummy / brain dump that you're going to be exposed to. Welcome to our world, because there's a lot of random conversations that Matthew and I have on a frequent basis that no one else is privy to until now.
Welcome.
Okay, so the topic is around AI and how it is impacting our world. Many of us have already experienced AI every day, and we're probably not even really consciously aware. And what I mean by that is we now have smart television, mobile phones, fancy tech like what's that Google
Oh, the Google Nest.
Google Home thingy.
Yeah.
Clearly, we do not have that, or else I'd know what it was called.
But point being, the tech's
being.
out there, and a lot of this
Yeah.
AI is being integrated into the tech now.
Absolutely. And so many people are bringing that tech into our homes, not even thinking about the consequences of it, which I'm not going to dive into that space because that's a whole rabbit hole that we probably don't want to get into right now. However, basically the topic came up because as a bookkeeper, I have experienced various integrations of AI into my workspace. And sometimes it's great because it makes life easy, and sometimes it's confronting because it reduces the workload that I have to do and therefore challenges the value that I bring to the organization that I work with. And look, I think I'm not the only one out there who is going to face these challenges. I'm sure there's many industries out there which are probably doing it much more tough than I am. I do feel very grateful for the opportunities that I have, so there's no disrespect to what technology has done for us. However, in saying that, it is confronting, and being really real about it, it's going to impact us sometimes for good, sometimes for not as good. And we need to decide how we want to receive that into our space.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And the challenge with it really comes down to adoption and embracing, but it's not from a perspective of jumping on the bandwagon. It's more about figuring out what can I utilize to give me more of an opportunity to be more efficient and more focused and attract better results in relation to the outputs that I'm seeking to get as far as the day-to-day goes.
Yeah.
And I think the fear that a lot of people have with this in relation to what AI potentially could do, I'm not going to say it's misplaced. I think that there is definitely cause for concern in some industries, because there will be a lot of people who they're probably more akin to the graphic designers and the artists who were very much, wet ink, pen, paper, pencil, crayon, brush paint. And during the time when Photoshop started to really dominate the space and it became a new tool, there was a very clear distinction between those who wanted to embrace the technology and those who didn't, and what that technology afforded those who did embrace it and where it left those who didn't. Now, I suppose I can speak from that experience to a degree when it comes to photography. I was very deeply immersed in photography in the mid to late 90s, and a lot of my focus was around black and white photography, darkroom technique, and I was very much an organic film, negative, print, darkroom sort of person, and loved working with the chemicals and the materials that I did. And then digital cameras hit the scene, and honestly I found that the cost of producing images using the technology that I was using at the time, when it was, film, was prohibitive in a lot of cases. But when I saw what digital photography was able to do, I didn't embrace it. I actually felt disheartened because for me, the art form was threatened, and I stepped away from photography for quite a long period of time. I still have a passion for it, and I enjoy getting out and capturing images that are unique, and it's my perspective at that point in time. Something as simple as the light changing, like no one is going to see it from the exact angle that I saw it from with the lighting that I had at that moment, and trying to wrap up the emotion that I experience inside that moment too is something I think that has parallels with how people are potentially looking at how AI is potentially playing a part, if not eating a part of their day. And I suppose yourself, Chris, in your line of work at the moment, company that you're working with and the functions that you're helping them fulfill, how do you see AI starting to really step into that space and start to eat the work?
It's a really interesting question because I can see it from both perspectives. From one perspective, I can really see the value in taking away all of that repetitiveness of the doing that really consumes so much of a bookkeeper's, financial administrator and accountant's work. I can certainly appreciate that. How it impacts our day-to-day stuff is it really reduces a lot of what we do. So from a monetary standpoint, if you had once considered an accountant to be really, really expensive because you're paying them in 15-minute increments, the great thing for the consumer is that in theory, what an accountant is able to spit out in 15 minutes because of AI technology being able to get everything together so quickly is significantly cheaper for you, because it's probably a quarter of the time that could have been spent. So from a consumer's perspective, it's fantastic. From a accountant's perspective, that could go one of two ways. One way is that they look at it and they go, okay, well, it takes me 1/4 of the time, and so therefore I need to find more business because I can't reasonably charge for an hour's worth of work when I've only done 15 minutes. Some accountants may, I won't lie, I'm not one of them. However, it's the reality. I mean, if the perception in the past has been that XYZ task is going to take an hour to do, why would somebody choose off their own back to only charge for 15 minutes if the perception historically has been an hour? Ethically, we have a little bit of a dilemma going on. So those people who choose to acknowledge that technology is reducing the amount of time spent, and therefore we maybe need to recalibrate how much we're charging our clients, it means that we're going to have to find more work to do to fill the gap. Because if once upon a time you were charging an hour for a task, which now takes 15 minutes, you're going to charge ethically 15 minutes worth instead of an hour. So now you have to find 4 times as much work to fill that hour.
Makes sense.
Consequently, the same goes for bookkeeping and accounts assistants and many, many other industries. I'm just referring to the one that I'm working in. So the volume of work essentially has diminished because AI has made it so much easier for us. Great in one aspect because we don't have to work as hard. Not so great in another aspect because historically the perception has been that accountants and lawyers and high profession workers need to have a certain degree of education, and so you have to have a certain understanding. Now, you've got one or two choices. First choice is that you upskill and you try to add more value with every level that you upskill. And that's great. However, you still have the same challenges every step of the way because artificial intelligence integrates into every area of every business. Then if you're adding more value but it's taking you less time, and the artificial intelligence that is being brought into your industry is able to solve problems quicker than you'd ever think was possible, what value are you then bringing? And that is kind of the dilemma that we find ourselves in.
It's a situation where I think A lot of people are hung up on being prompt engineers and how to utilize the technology more effectively to extract as much efficiency as possible. But that is something that I think is very much a first order level of thinking. If we use Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow Quadrant approach with this, you're effectively sitting in the specialist section of the quadrant. So that means that when you stop working, the income stops. But utilizing the tools and the resources to create a business, then that places you in a different part of the quadrant. So I think the biggest challenge in a lot of cases is shifting the vibration of thought away from being something that is aligned with an employee mindset where it's about slightly delayed, if not immediate gratification.
I'm so glad you fixed that. I know this is going to be one of those people moments, but I was trying to figure out what delayed meant.
Delayed. Yeah, trust me, this is going down with no edits. Slightly delayed. Moving along. For those of you who are listening right now, we're enjoying a lovely cherry liqueur from Orange Mountain in Orange, New South Wales, and
Orange Mountain Wineries.
Orange Mountain
Cheers
Winery.
to you guys. You guys have some beautiful product.
Yeah, definitely. Terry and Julie are absolutely, they're Class A hosts.
They
Lovely
are lovely.
people.
And they're not sponsoring us. This is just
Oh,
us
God, no.
speaking from the heart. They have been incredibly wonderful hosts and
Yeah. We had a very nice experience with them where we were invited to stay back after they'd closed the doors to the public, and yeah, they broke out some beautiful cheeses and we shared some of the cherry liqueur that we're enjoying now and some of their wines and had a lovely conversation. Very forward-thinking couple, and Terry in particular is an amazing business mind. So anyhow, delayed.
back on topic.
We are.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. A word from our sponsor. I kind of lost my train of thought there a little bit.
May I, if you've lost track, may I get back to my other
Certainly.
concept? So as I was saying, we've got a couple of different options, one of which is we can acknowledge that where we're at today is maybe not as advanced as it could be, and so we level up to the next degree
through traditional
or
education.
traditional education.
Yeah.
So we level up. That's the old way of thinking. And the same thing is to be said for many other industries. Property is certainly one of them. And so that's the traditional way of thinking. And I think we're coming to an age where that may serve you for a time, but we need to think differently. A Mindful Meanderings series on AI and its impact on our world. I've just scratched the surface of this fascinating topic, exploring how AI is already integrating into our daily lives, often without us even realizing it. In the next episode, we'll delve deeper into the challenges and opportunities that AI presents in various industries. We'll explore how AI is transforming traditional workplaces, the ethical dilemma faced by professionals as AI takes on more tasks, strategies for adapting to and embracing technological changes, real-world examples of AI integration in business. Join me as I continue my conversation with special guest Matt and uncover more insights about navigating the AI revolution. Whether you're a business owner, an employee, or simply curious about the future of work, you won't want to miss this thought-provoking discussion. Stay tuned for part 2 of my Mindful Meanderings series, where we'll explore the profound ways AI is reshaping our professional landscapes and how we can position ourselves for success in this rapidly evolving world. Until next time, keep an open mind and stay curious about the possibilities that AI brings to our lives and work. See you in part 2.